Hi, everyone. I'm your Commissioner Austin.
And
My
I'm your co-host, Jameson Bamrick.
Hey, it's me, Jameson. Jameson's not here. We have our esteemed two-time guest, Justin Long, J Long 2, for those of us that are OGs. Welcome, Justin. What's up, man?
Not too much. Glad I could be the most frequent podcast guest in D League podcast history, tied for the most. But the people were clamoring for the return of J Long, the D League champion from 2 years ago. Um, so here I
Yeah, they
am.
wanted to know. The other two guests we've had haven't won championships or haven't won in 7 years, so they wanted the opinion of a recent champ.
Yeah, rumor has it Canoost doesn't even have a jersey, which is a little embarrassing. So
Pathetic. Oh, hey, Zachary. You're in right away. I barely even posted the link. That's amazing.
it's
Maybe that.
actually, funny. There's how many people? There's three people in Presidents then that don't have jerseys, or is there even more than that? Because Jameson, Corey, and Canoost all don't have jerseys.
I don't think Todd does.
It's kind of crazy. The best of the
Yeah,
best with no jerseys.
that's
Seems like,
suspicious. There's
yeah.
plenty of us with jerseys languishing around in the lower leagues, but for some arbitrary reason, we're just not there. Couldn't imagine why. Um, well, welcome. Oh my God, Benda's here. Look at this guy. We have some new blood in the chat. I can't believe this. Well, let's get going. How was your week, life and fantasy? Tell me both specifics.
Yeah, I mean, we can start with fantasy, and I'm sure we'll touch on this later. But I was playing. Wow, now I don't even remember who I was playing against. Canoost, I think was I against Canoost last week? Yeah.
Oh, geez, I gotta pull your own.
No, sorry, I was against Mike Stubin, and I had a real roller coaster of emotions. And this is why I think, Bam, to your point of like not checking your score is just the way to go. And then you just check after Monday Night Football and you're pleasantly surprised because like leaving Sunday, I think I had a low, like 20% chance, according to Sleeper, chance of winning, but I had Amon Ra and Laporta heading into. So I was like, oh, I'm feeling confident. I'm reaching. And then suddenly Amon-Ra and Laporta took off. Devontae, for whatever reason, chose not to play football. And I then like took the lead and suddenly I had like an 80 something percent chance of winning. And I was like, nice. I actually did it. And then Jahmyr Gibbs looked at me through the TV, said, I don't care that you now have a daughter, that you have to look in the eyes someday and tell her that you're a failure. I'm going to take over this football game and run 800 yards. And he then proceeded to score 30 points, beating me. The worst part being I didn't trust in the coat and I played CJ Stroud. And had I trusted in the coat, I win the game. So
Coat with one Achilles, better than rookie CJ Stroud. Let it be
and
known.
forever, I will think about the fact that I had the opportunity to play the coat in his final NFL game of his long Hall of Fame caliber career. And I didn't take that opportunity and I'll never be able to get that back. And that'll keep me up at night.
You know what's kind of fucked up? The Lions only scored 26 total points, and somehow Jahmyr Gibbs matched the total of your two players, one of whom also scored a touchdown. Like, there aren't a lot of touchdowns that go around. How does one guy just match the number one wide receiver, an absolute dynamite tight end?
Yeah,
The match
I mean,
doesn't add up.
I'll tell you how he does it. He catches 5 passes for 37 yards and runs 152 yards. Like, it's just
Beast.
I'm bitter about it. He's good. Is he? That brings the question: Who is rookie of the year this year? Do we think?
Puka.
Got to be. I mean, Puka is up, but like, is Jahmyr? Jahmyr's had back-to-back 20-point games. If he finishes strong and Puka doesn't continue with 20-point games, can like I would have said, what's his name? stupid fast guy for the Dolphins that has weak knees, Archain, would have been in contest with his 50-point game. But
I would say the top 2 runners right now, Addison, Puka, Gibbs. Because I don't know, is Bijan there? He's like been okay, other than the migraine game, right?
I mean, I think he started off and everyone was like, "Oh, he's for certain going to be," and then kind of like my fantasy football year this year, Icarus flew a little too close to the sun and went a little too heavy too soon. So
yeah, I guess.
CJ Stroud that's actually a great point. He's been quite impressive for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, do QBs just get it automatically if they're not total fuck ups? Like they're just like, yeah, this guy.
Because I think that's easily more impressive that a rookie quarterback manages the jump from college to NFL.
Yeah.
But
the only argument I have against that is Addison taking over the number 1 spot for Jefferson and dominating.
But that's because he has the coat thrown to him.
True.
It's
so
really
I guess we'll
easy.
See how this week goes. If this week he's still dominant, he's the number 1 rookie of the year. If not, then it was the coat all along. Jefferson's career is the coat. Addison's career is the coat. Hawkinson's career, it's all just gone. It's the coat. You're no longer the Jote, the Hote without the coat, right?
Turns out the coat was the key to it the whole time. So yeah, I mean, my fantasy week was a real roller coaster. I was like heading into halftime. I was like, halftime on Monday night. I was like, I can't believe I pulled this off and I won. Devontae's worthless and I pulled it off, and then ended the game with me just absolutely crushed that he scored just enough points to take me on. But then, actually, this was also on Monday prior to that, went first trick-or-treating with the new baby, Cora, who dressed up as a ladybug. She didn't actually trick-or-treat. I felt like that would have been taking advantage of the system if I just walked up with an infant and took candy. So I was with my sister and her kids who went trick-or-treating. But we have a little picture of the ladybug here.
There we are.
One of, I told Bam earlier, in my very clearly unbiased opinion, the cutest thing you will see in your entire life.
She can sit up. Quite possibly the cutest baby in the universe right now. Look at this.
I will work 75-hour weeks to buy her whatever she wants when she gets older.
What if I work 75 hours a week?
I mean, you can get Rosemary whatever she wants as well, but
what if Cora works 75 hours a week?
She's not allowed. She's going to be a trust fund baby. I'll work so she doesn't have to work. Yeah. So
that's fair.
I will put on real estate and life coach seminars that cost $20,000 to $30,000 for impressionable, self-confidence lacking like 20-year-olds,
right?
To tell them how to build their real estate empire. And I'll make easily 6 figures a month.
You should have something related to Extra Life, but you siphon off money for yourself.
Ooh.
You know,
figure something with the coding where I take money from the sick kids.
Right, like the rounding up. And you
do you want to round up
a separate
for me
account?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no, that is a great. In all seriousness, though, great. The week has been going well, but this Saturday is Extra Life, which I think it was new in college when I was there. So these people that are like ancient in this league. Which is a lot of you. It probably didn't exist there, but it is like the cousin of Dance Marathon that is a gaming marathon for the Children's Miracle Network. And I think I've posted my link pandering for donations before. But I've done it now for 12 years and we've gotten like involvement from my work as well, and they do like donation matching, but we've like since I've started we've raised now $60,000, which is kind of crazy. So Bam has continued to blow me off for the 12 years that I've done it. I've asked him every single year. And he never participates because he, in fact, doesn't care about sick kids. But if anyone is interested in participating, let me know. If you're not interested in participating, I would encourage you to donate. I will post the link as well if anyone wants to.
I donate because I'm a young billionaire and my money is worth more than my time.
That's that's fair. I can't send messages as a host there. Okay, well,
we'll post it in the Discord.
Yeah.
But Jameson doesn't have Discord, so I'll text him individually.
Here you go for all you people that are listening at home. Use that link. Donate to a great cause.
That's right.
What are we playing?
Until you collapse.
It varies every year.
Ooh, actually, Age of Empires is not a bad idea.
I was about to say, actually, Age of Empires has come up, especially because they like redid, or Microsoft or whoever redid Age of Empires and like fixed the graphics. So we always play like League of Legends is a common one that is kind of like the original game that we all got in together. But every year, especially like in the middle of the night, party games or like random games like Age of Empires, Golf with Friends, like these miscellaneous games where people are slap happy and loopy, get often played in the middle of the night. It's a great time. As I get older, I realize how hard it is to stay awake for 24 hours straight and play video games. I am so exhausted on Sunday. So
challenge. All right. Well, my week, I was the number one scoring team in Guggenheim, which was lovely. My CD Lamb for Derrick Henry trade paid off because Derrick Henry would have not won me my matchup, but CD Lamb's 35 did. Life-wise, pretty standard. I started a new project, so I'm working 2 projects at the same time, and I actually have to work as a business analyst, which is the worst thing that could happen to somebody like me. So I have to get up at 7 a.m. to make 7:30 stand-up, and then I'm in meetings until noon, and then maybe Jameson and I get in a couple games of Flesh and Blood online, and then I gotta go get lunch and hang out with my daughter, and it's exhausting. But I beat Tanner, which is always invigorating. So we're back at 3-5. You and I are the same record, even though my team has about 100 less points than you. I feel really good about that. I'm down 2 ACLs, as you know.
Somehow, I feel like that's your team every year, Bam. I'm going to be honest. Do you just know how to pick the injury-prone players?
Shit, man. Well, let's just go back. Has Chubb ever been injured? I don't think so. Mike Williams, yes. We'll give him that. Last year, Mark Andrews, had he ever been injured before? No. Kyler Murray, ever been injured before? He usually misses a game.
You just know how to find the ACL in the rough, man.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown, injured? No, never.
He was like 18 years old, so.
I remember one year I did, in like the 6th round, I got Drew Brees, who was like a top 3 quarterback and, super late. In the very first game of the entire year, he threw a pass and broke his hand on somebody's helmet. Was out the entire year. So, I do have an interesting stat. My battle with tight end. Throughout this entire year, I have rotated through 4 different tight ends. The consensus average of those has been 3 points per tight end. So, if you happen to have grabbed Trey McBride, I'm really sorry. I also grabbed him. You're in for about maybe 1, maybe 2, possibly 3 points this week. It's gonna be ugly, especially with your boy Dobbs getting shipped off. But yeah, McBride's my future. I'm hedging the entire thing on him. Actually, the only difference that I won this week, I had 151. Tanner had 154 or 41. But I finally got a kicker and defense combo that worked, and then immediately this week my kicker's on bye. It's not gonna work out. All right. Anyway, week 8 reactions. On the subject of tight ends, this was just a open question for anybody. One of the things I'm continuously most confused about is why is Taysom Hill not just a slam dunk tight end one always? He plays QB and running back and tight end. What are we missing? Why does he not just he's in somebody's lineup all the time? Instead, he's permanently on waivers.
The hard thing is that there feels like there's no
Bendaz McBride. You just had Michael Mayer. I had Michael Mayer for 2 weeks. Yeah, you're fucked. You're fucked.
The 3-point curse. I feel like the hard thing with Taysom is that there's no rhythm or pattern with like they could just randomly be like, yep, we're not going to play him a single snap this game. And you just like it, or they're like, well, yeah, we're going to run Wildcat 40% of the time. And he's going to be it. And he's going to get 15 carries and throw the ball 18 times. And you're like, well, yeah, I want to sign up for that version. And it also seems weird because it feels like when they use him, they do better. And I thought I saw a stat one time that like their winning percentage when he has like a snap percentage higher than something was very high. Yet for some reason they don't use him often.
I feel like if they use him in the red zone, it's nearly always a touchdown. I mean, even this last week, they used him like one carry, 15 yards in the red zone, instant touchdown. The guy just is humongous. I actually know this because I dropped Jake Ferguson and Zachary picked him up, and he picked up Ferguson while dropping Taysom Hill. It didn't matter which one he picked up because both of them scored touchdowns, and the guy I picked up did not. But it's I don't get it. When you have a guy who plays quarterback and running back and tight end, it seems like this guy should just be like a number 1 overall tight end pick, but he just never is.
Yeah, and it's what's wild too is that like looking at his week by week, he has a 0.4, a 2.6, a 2.7, a 2.5, but he's tight end number 10 because he has a 21, a 14, and 2 8s. Like,
what the
so it's yeah. So you just the ceiling is obviously way higher, I think, than like maybe with the exception of like 1 or 2 guys, but the floor is just 0. So you just never know what you're going to get.
He's somehow the same as every tight end, but despite playing 3 positions. That's actually rather impressive. All right, next thing, Kirko Chain's out for the season. This is actually the worst timeline that I could ever imagine. So, if you remember, in the beginning of the season, the Vikings were on tank mode. They somehow get to the part of the season where they can win a couple games, and they win themselves out of a first-round pick. Then Kirko Chains tears an Achilles. Now they've won too many games to be in the running for a number 1 quarterback. And so now they're going to a fucking rookie QB. The trade deadline is over, so they can't get rid of Kirk. They can't get rid of anybody else. They're just stuck, and they have to deal with Josh Dobbs and Jaren Hall, whatever it is. They literally could not have like played themselves into a worse situation.
Yeah, well, in the free agent options are not great.
There's nobody,
yeah. Like who did I think like Carson Wentz is on
God, I'd rather have Josh Dobbs or Jalen Hall than Carson Wentz.
Matt Ryan, Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, Nick Case Foles Keenum. Yeah, Case Keenum could come back.
Okay, so we could either have the Minneapolis Miracle or we could have Nick Foles, who destroyed the Vikings in that same year.
He knows the system.
That'd be lovely. All right, so yeah, that's off. I mean, that's the most Minnesota thing I could ever imagine. Like, what if we just ruined? What if we were like, you had no hope, then you had a lot of hope, and then all of the hope you had was packaged up into complete despair, all within a couple of weeks. That's the Minnesota sports life.
And it's also just wild that like the games we lost, Kirko was playing like some of the most absurd Like his QBR and like stat lines were absurd, and they were 0-3 during that time, and it like just didn't make any sense. And now he's done with football forever. Because I don't picture him being like Aaron Rodgers, where he wants to like go smoke ayahuasca and find like a voodoo Achilles doctor and be back in like on the field in 3 weeks throwing footballs. I feel like, I feel like he's just going to be done playing football.
I also don't get it. Like the other Achilles we've seen this year have been like in the result of hits. Like watch the replay of because he was just like walking around. Like he's just like
I
moving
think
from one area to the other. And
I'm pretty sure Achilles is like a really common non-contact injury though. I don't know. I don't have any stats to back that up. I just feel it. So it's true.
Right. Well, I trust you.
Yeah.
I trust your feeling. Yeah, that was heartbreaking. Jimmy Garoppolo. It was infinitely funny to me that the Raiders would trade away Derek Carr for a guy who's worse than him. And then the Saints would trade for Derek Carr and get rid of somebody who is as good as Derek Carr. That was just like a really funny triangle of fucking morons overthinking it.
It was like, why are you and I, why aren't we GMs? You know, like, why aren't we making these decisions?
Well, I traded for a wide receiver 1 who wants to play with my quarterback. My quarterback is better than Jimmy Garoppolo and wants a little bit more money. You know what? Let's blow the whole thing up. Like, I don't know. I also have a really bad haircut, and I can't say that anything that Mark Davis does makes sense because he has that haircut. But this is one of the ones that just does not make any sense on any level ever. But yeah, Jimmy G is terrible. This is going to be one of the funnier things where I have to play Devontae Adams this week. And because Devontae Adams is super pissed off, they're going to target him 75 times this game. And he'll just, win off of pure volume. Even though Jimmy's going to be benched. But this is like the 3rd time now Jimmy G's been benched for a rookie. That's not a good sign, even though everyone points to like the QB win stat for him. You don't know ball, just say it. Just say you don't know ball if you use wins as a QB stat.
Well, and also, like, where are his wins coming from? San Francisco, where they still had like an insane group of people around him, like not to take any shots at Brock Purdy and especially Brocktober, but like Brock Purdy might be playing with one of the most disgusting groups of defense and offensive personnel around him. And it's like, and Jimmy G was, now I think Brock Purdy's better than Jimmy G because he's doing a whole heck of a lot better than Jimmy G, but
right. They have the same team. Purdy is just, everything's better.
It's like, I feel like I'd have decent wins playing quarterback for the 49ers.
Purdy's also still concussed. I hope everyone knows that. If you watch the replay of the last game, he's like holding his head and not well. So it would be great if somebody could look out for him, but that won't be Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan is a fucking idiot, other than play design. All right, Darren Waller was the leading receiver for the Giants. Darren Waller left in the very first half of the first quarter with 4 yards. So that's not ideal when you have another 3.5 quarters left. And so Daniel Jones didn't play, and then Tyrod Taylor got injured, and then it was some other guy who has the same name as a character in Goodfellas. Tommy DeVito. There we go. He threw the ball 3 times for like -4 yards. You don't win that way, but yeah, Darren Waller. If you had Darren Waller, you can at least hang your hat on the fact that you had the best receiver on the Giants that week. All right, on to actual league stuff. Guggenheim, first and best. That's me. I played against Tanner. He luckily sat DeAndre Hopkins with 32 points. Thank you, Tanner. I ended up beating Tanner by about 10. I appreciate that. It's the exact same thing I would have done. This actually brings me to something a question I want to pose to you, Justin. So when I was talking to Benda, a fan favorite, he was talking about how we overthink things. We just overthink. We get ourselves out of what works. I legitimately cannot figure out if sitting Hopkins was overthinking it or starting him was overthinking it. Are you starting Hopkins because he's so good it doesn't matter? Or do you sit him because his quarterback could potentially be so bad it doesn't matter? Now, before you answer, transfer this to Jordan Addison. Do you, because Jordan Addison has been nothing but incredible for 8 weeks, start Jordan Addison because he's really good? Or is that overthinking it? And the reality is that his QB is so fucking bad and a rookie, you sit him. How do you overthink this? You can only overthink it one way or the other. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you think, Benda? This was your fucking idea. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know because
I don't blame Tanner at all for sitting Hopkins when fucking Will
Without-
Levis is starting.
yeah, I was going to say, and I think I wouldn't blame someone for sitting Addison with the coat gone either, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to then score 30 points. I mean,
Just look.
Yeah, that's-
Okay, here's the thing. The last 2 years, Justin Jefferson in your finals matchup, Sean Mannion, Justin Jefferson had 4 points. The year before, Sean Mannion, Justin Jefferson had 4 points. You overthink it. You don't overthink it by just starting Justin Jefferson because he's incredible. But that ruined you. So you did overthink it because he has a shitty quarterback. What do we do?
well, and
What do
see,
we
and
do?
my strategy is generally play good players on good teams playing bad teams. But when your quarterback's gone, is your team still a good team? That's where
Right.
the question comes into play.
Are the Vikings off? Is the Vikings offense still good?
It's like how much of the Vikings offense hinged on the coat, and
Yeah,
we'll find out next week. But I
that's
think
too late.
that it's not wrong to assume that a lot of the Titans offense hinged on Tannehill, and apparently it didn't hinge on Tannehill at all. Not to say that he's like a Pat Mahomes, but like
You overthink
you
it
would
by
think,
going against
yeah,
what the computer tells you to do. Okay, you just go by projections.
I would just go by the consensus fantasy
start rate.
experts. Go the consensus fantasy pro projections and just click. I don't know. I outsource majority of my fantasy to several people on Fiverr that are based in Bangalore, India. So
They run the numbers, simulations over a couple years.
yeah, I don't.
Good.
So
I would say go by start rate. Sleeper has
Cool.
start rate. You just look. Are a bunch of people starting them? They probably know as a collective group of thousands. Maybe they know more than us.
Taysom Hill has started in only 29% of leagues. So
Wow. All right. So Zachary in the chat, Zachary hit 147 with the 0 in his lineup with Miles Sanders. He's now 4-4 after climbing over my dead body, and Zachary is right there in it. There's a lot of 4-4s. Literally one win just puts Zach right in the playoff conversation, and he's got the points for to be a contender. I like that a lot. I want to see a Corsairs jersey really bad. All right, on to Herman German. We have both 6-1 teams fell. All of the 4 top teams lost. That includes
wow.
Freeze and Mallet.
And Mallet, I think, was he undefeated? No, he's 6-1.
Yeah,
Both,
he was the last undefeated though.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Prez could never. That's correct, Zach Elliott. Imagine this type of parody in a league. Presidents could never. On to Blipto. T-Sham proves it isn't a fluke. So he has 3 wins by 1 point or less. Last week he won by beating the only team he could have beaten. And then this week he just throws all the doubt out the window. Number 1 scorer in all of Blipto. Dominates his opponent, says, "Fuck you, I'm for real." He's now 6-2. I think T-Shan's 6-2, 5-3, 6-2. He might be 6-2. I'm not gonna look it up. Anyway, nice work, T-Shan. Peters Cuervo, Bradley. I've been texting Bradley for most of the night because this is really funny. He lost to Dusty. Dusty does not play fantasy football. He just drafts. His QB was Anthony Richardson, who hasn't played in 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks. And Dusty somehow scored like 135 without a QB, and Bradley lost by about 5 points.
Which league is Alex Nelson in?
Old Hall, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the same one as Sully and Preer and those guys. Whatever one Preer's in, because Preer has been bullying Nelson nonstop to try and get him to trade him. You just stop that, Preer. It's harassment. Not everyone wants to trade you their good players for your bad ones. You need to know that. Newhall, Benda in the chat. What's up, Benda? You're 1-7. Could be better. But
I thought that was just the end of your comment. Benda, 1-7.
1-7. But he did give me this little nugget. He has 20 more points than David Hanks. David Hanks' record on the year is 6-2.
Oh, what's the difference on the points against for that? That's incredible.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
We are in Newhall. Let me check here. We got Rogue Squadron. That's Hanks. He has 838 points against. Neon Medusas has 935 points against. So about 100 difference.
Geez, that's actually not as much as I would have thought difference for only. So that's just getting really unlucky and losing a lot of close games.
Well, I think it's more a testament to the luck that Hanks has had, because Dan Moran is the lowest scorer, then Benda, then Hanks.
Oh, geez.
Moran is 3-5. Benda is 1-7, and Hanks is 6-2.
That's hilarious.
It's better be lucky than good. All right, on to Old Hall, Old Hall. Sully. There's not a lot of notes in Old Hall. A lot of these matchups are not close. They win by 10 to 20 to plus, and then it's just fucking Sullivan.
So
7-1.
Yeah, so I want you to click on, if you have Old Hall pulled up there.
I got it pulled up, yeah.
Can you click into whatever matchup Alex Nelson played in and look at the scores of his players?
Yes, actually. You want me to share? I can share it too.
He messaged me heading into Monday night that he was on his way to a perfect game.
1, 2, 3.
Wait, was it this one or was it?
Oh, I had a week 7 up. All right, my bad. Here we go. 165. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and wait, click on Jacoby's scores for his past weeks. He messages me. He's like, all I have left is Jacoby to get the perfect game, which
he has one other week.
In the back of my mind, I have the perfect game earlier this season. So if he gets it, I'm sharing it with it, which I would actually be happy for him. And so I was rooting for him. And he's like, he messages me. He only gets one catch after having 10 plus points, 7 out of 8 of his games.
Oh,
so an absolutely heartbreaking finish there to miss out on the perfect game because Jacoby just laid an egg.
Poor bastard. Well, Garoppolo laid an egg. He completed one pass to a wide receiver the entire game. One. To Jacoby Myers, actually.
Yeah.
All right, now we're on to Prez. 7-1 Canoes. Canoes
Yeah.
winning.
Canoes is dominating. His team is really good. The better team, and to the point of unlucky team, Jeff Edwards' team, he has 1,163 points scored this season. I'd be interested to know if that's not the highest across all leagues, because that's a pretty impressive mark. But he just so happens that he has 1,008 points scored against him, and he is 4-4 with 1,100 points scored. Sorry, that was 1,163 is his max points scored. His points for is 1,016, which is still also very high. But
that is, he's not close to the number one scorer.
Who's the number one scorer?
Guggenheim, an actual league
powerhouse.
The number one scorer is Langton at 90-9 because the parity in that league is so insane. You know how everybody else just picked up Dalton Kincaid just randomly? Dalton Kincaid has been on Denton fucking Renner's roster since the draft. You know who else has been on the draft? Fucking Dallas Goedert. Both of who got picked up after waivers for free in Presidents. You guys are fucking clowns. That is an objective fact. The shit you guys pull, the moves you make, do not exist in top level leagues like Guggenheim. I'm sorry. Anyway, he is fifth best. 1,016 is fifth best. The only one lower is Guggenheim, actually.
So who is the top scorer right now still? Was it? I think Mallet was up there at some point, right?
165 is Bianchi, or 1065. I think that's Teeds 1069. Yeah, Teeds 1069.
Jeez.
He is in Peters Cuervo. Yeah.
Shout out to Teeds. I was having some Weller 12 year the other day, and it was delicious. Yeah.
Damn. All right. So Jameson's 5-3. He couldn't make it tonight, but he's in there. He's always in there. Jalen didn't trust the coat. We covered that, and then Corey Anderson.
Yeah. So this is my. I love to use my platform for good, but also to bash my brother-in-law, Corey Anderson, who is a real Corey Anderson type himself. He brought this to my attention himself. So he really has himself to blame, but he was pointing out the fact of the difference between his points for and his max points for. So his max points for is 1,066, which, as Bam just covered, would put him in the running for highest overall. His actual points for is 880. So a 200 point difference between his potential and his scored. It has not, and he also has almost 1,000 points against him. So those two things combined, it's been a rough go for Corey. He's hanging on for dear life. So,
Corey, you and I got to get together and we got to figure out how to start people.
But he's the one that picked up the Puka waiver play. So like he had some things going for him, but he just can't choose the right people to start. So,
damn. I think that's one of the reasons why my season feels so bad is I did make the right Puka move to save the Mike Williams. It just doesn't work.
I couldn't find Puka on his roster at first, and I forgot that Sleeper still has his picture as surprise Pikachu meme. So,
oh yeah, that's pretty good. All right, we're on to waivers and trades. The best and funniest was Ben Freeze, who is 6-2, panicking and buying Will Levis for $31. Nobody else across any league paid any money for Will Levis. I think that's a move you make when you don't have confidence in your boys. He did have confidence in the coat, which he now lost, but you don't need to pay $31 for a rookie QB on the Titans. I would save that money for later. It's also kind of a testament to drafting, right? So if you draft somebody or a team that never gets injured, you can spend $31 on a shit QB and be fine. So I don't know. Maybe he's got it figured out, and I don't know anything. The next thing, every league but mine got Dalton Kincaid off waivers. I mentioned that earlier. Kincaid never hit waivers. We have a bunch of sharks in my league. Presidents likes to let tight end ones sit on the bench or free agency for a while and get him for free, I guess.
I don't cares. I mean, like I wasn't involved there because I already saw the potential in Laporta and picked him up a while ago, Bam, and that's the move that the President's player makes.
First I said nothing when they came for my DeMarcados. And then I said nothing when they came for my Dallas Goddards. And then when it was time for my Kincaids, we had nothing left, or whatever the fuck that is. Anyway, tight end is a fucking mess, and the fact that these fucking tight end ones just keep getting scooped up for free in Presidents is a testament to how bad you guys are. Anyway,
I did actually just notice that Knust drafted Laporta and then dropped him. So
oh my god, that's delicious.
I just know
he's only 7-1 because fucking Ward gave him a team. That is so delicious.
I didn't actually. I was like curious. I was like, wait, when did I pick up Laporta? And I just noticed below from waivers for $6 dropped to waivers by Josh Knust, drafted by Josh Knust.
Dude, Laporta's fucking awesome.
God, yeah, he's so the Lions randomly are awesome. So.
Yeah. All right, so waivers trades. There's only one trade. Darrell Henderson was shipped to Joe Crispin for $10 waiver dollars. To Shugart. We had talked about potential collusion earlier between these two and decided that it wasn't because of the desperation that Crispin found himself in. And somehow I think I still agree that this is not collusion because Darrell Henderson is simply a fill-in, and $10 could get you many things down the line.
It could get you. It could get you 1/3 of a Will Levis. That's what's important to remember.
Could get you part of a Will Levis. It could get you 2 or 3 defenses down the line.
It could get, how many Kareem Hunts could it get you? That's
well, I do know. So I do know Shugart who gave up Darrell Henderson for $10. He has Kyron Williams.
Okay.
Crispin is fighting for his life. He's 3-5. Just needs anything he can get. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know Sugar's very, very active on the waiver wire, so $10 could probably go a long way. This doesn't move the needle for me. It makes sense. One of the things lost in the infinite amount of shit that I give Knust for winning his title off the back of me being too smart was the only reason that I was in that position was because I traded $30 of fab for Deshaun Watson to Matt Kenny. And Deshaun Watson was like the number 3 overall QB, but Kenny had like Mahomes or somebody else. So without something massively fucking stupid happening, I never would have been in that position. But yeah, fab can go a long way. I'm okay with it. What do you think, Joe?
No, I can't. I was actually just curious. I was looking at the President's League to see like what people's fab budgets were left. And Knust has $0 left. Because if you remember he spent it
John,
all
or John.
on Jerome
Jack Ford.
Ford. Yeah. When Knuth's by far, favorite player and first love in life, Chubb, had a devastating injury. He then spent it all. But the other totals 37, 15, 85, 100, 83, 85, 25, 55, 29, 47, 33. So, like, there's a lot of people in Presidents just sitting on a lot of money,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy because there's been some big names that have fallen to waivers, and it's like earlier in the season already, like with Puka and Laporta and Ford and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy to me that, well, and I think Davo I'm assuming the number in parentheses next to it is how many waiver claims you've made. No, that can't be it. Or is that your position if for ties? I don't know. Do you see when you go to league and it shows you their waiver dollars and then there's a number next to it? Oh, I think that it looks like it's 1 through 12.
That would be your position.
Yeah, for ties, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind then. I thought it was number, and I was like, someone's made only one claim, but
yeah. So it goes by. Did you just recently win a waiver claim, and then also like your level? Yeah, I mean it's super nice to be a team that doesn't have, that has all of their intact ACLs, and then you can go in week 8 and just dump a shitload of money on somebody. Couldn't imagine what they'd be like.
Yeah, although I could make an argument for like saving some, because I feel like I don't know, maybe this is just not actually backed up by factual information, but I feel like as the year goes on, like more people will fizzle out or get injured and you'll need to then spend, but maybe I spent most of my money. So
early on your team, you're fighting for wins, right? You got to spend up for whatever you got.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Can you state your name for the podcast?
Yeah. So, as a revisiting, recurring guest,
no, there is no previous year anymore.
It's assuming all been deleted. Everyone remembers, with the exception of who made the joke in Discord that we talked about with my betting comment, the dentistry joke? Who was it?
TJ Masker.
Was that Masker? Yeah. So just to reiterate, Root Access, which is my franchise name, is not a dentistry reference. A few weeks ago, there was a comment made that I should forgo betting and stick to dentistry. I am not a dentist. Root Access is a cybersecurity hacking related franchise. So I have been in the league. Pretty
sick.
Yeah, the logo is my initials JNL and a hashtag, which is like the symbol on a command terminal. I'm pretty proud of it and a little upset that it was confused with dentistry, but it's fine. I'm over it. This is my fourth year in the league. I've been through 3 restructurings. So if that tells you,
kind
everyone's
like QB with an offensive coordinator rotation every time.
Yeah. So, and I won. I didn't win Presidents. I won I think they were calling it the Super Bowl, when there was 4 leagues, and then the winner of each of the 4 leagues played in a quote unquote super playoff for the Super Bowl. And I beat Knuth, I believe, in the final when I ran the full Bengals stack 2 years ago with Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, and Joe Burrow, and scored like 170 points in the championship or something stupid. So I got pretty lucky that the Bengals stack worked out then. And then I've kind of coasted on that success without any success really since then. So I rode that into Presidents.
Well, that's at least a championship post relegation, which is something I can't talk about. Okay, so pledge year. When was your pledge year?
2011. We were one of the years that they did it weird, so I was called Pledge Class 2016, but I agree that it makes no sense to do it by the year you graduate. So I would have been a pledge in 2011.
Really?
So, yeah.
I don't remember you at all. No, I graduated in 11, so then you would have pledged fall
I don't,
of 11.
I tell myself this often, not often. I don't think about you that much, but I get
don't believe that at all.
confused because in my head, you and I were at school together and we like played league at school and like were friends. And I don't even know how we got connected like post graduation. And then you just like
Well, that
never
definitely
left.
didn't happen. I didn't start playing League of Legends until I was in Kansas City for like 2 or 3 years before I started playing League, and it was because somebody I worked with started playing League, and then once I started playing League, I think I joined the Friends Forever Discord because of like Alex Nelson or somebody else.
Yeah. So
That's
that whole like my introduction to you is still like a blur in my head. And in my head, like you were the same age as Canoost and like we overlapped at school. So that's like what I'm going to go with. Even though it's
maybe I
not
was
true.
Yeah, because I originally was playing Dota a lot, and then I don't know. Somebody got me into League, and I can't remember who, other than my coworker. And then by playing League, I realized that a lot of you guys played it.
Yeah. So no, yeah, pledge in 2011, graduated in 2016, I think. Like Canoost said, I did a full 5 years. I took a semester off and did a like long co-op and took an extra semester. And I agree with Canoost. It was fun. I mean, I also got married like while I was in school. So
You got married when you were in college?
yeah, I was a junior, and my wife Kaylee had just graduated from Iowa State. Older woman, so
Oh, you guys must really like each other.
She gets the job done. No, just kidding.
Kind of sad.
Yeah, no, she. So yeah, she was graduating, so we got married and moved. She was like working in Johnston. I was finishing school, so we lived in Polk City, and kind of split. So I did have a. No, my senior year, I lived in Polk City, and
I thought you lived
drove
in
to.
Minneapolis or.
Oh yeah, no, post graduation. When we graduated, we
yeah.
moved from Polk City to Minneapolis, and we lived up there for 5 years, and now we're back in the Des Moines area. So
Gotcha. Good to have you.
yeah, glad to be back. Oh, I did actually. This is my ADHD brain. Last year, I saved myself from relegation in Presidents because of the Bills injury. I think
Wait, in the losers bracket, you would have been.
No, well, like that saved me. That game, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that game saved me from being, or I wasn't going to make the playoffs, but that put me into 7th place instead of like 9th place or whatever, which 7th place is like automatically safe. So I was like automatically safe because of that game. Because of the like they had, I'll need Jameson to fact check me on this, but for some reason I narrowly and should not have gotten myself into a position to be safe from relegation, but I did, I think, because of that game.
Damn.
It's fantasy football, man. Yeah. Did you hear about that hockey player? Speaking of game time injuries, there was an ex NHL player that yesterday he was playing professional hockey in England and he died because he took a skate to the throat in the game.
Like yesterday?
Yesterday. He was a ex Pittsburgh Penguins guy, and he like took a skate to the throat and it slit his throat and he died on the ice.
Oh my fucking God.
One of the wildest headlines I've ever read in my life. Yeah. So, anyways, thanks everyone for watching.
Anyway, all right, go wild. Hope everyone has a good time.
On a
That's
brighter
fucking
note,
crazy, man.
yeah.
I was wondering, like, not always, but how many severe injuries, like, you could fucking slice an artery at any moment with a blade attached to your foot.
Yeah, they were like adding, I think like England like passed immediately mandatory neck protection for hockey players, and then the NHL was like pushing for it because they like currently don't wear, which it is kind of wild that there's guys
There's not like
going
a
around with
guard up here.
razor blades on their feet and they don't have to wear like a
Yeah, I mean, people like dive out for pucks to like block it with their face. You should at least have protection somewhere.
The goalie does,
Yeah.
but I don't. No one else
Jesus.
does. Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of wild.
All right, well, rest in peace, that guy. What is the greatest movie franchise of all time, and why is it Fast and Furious? What do you think of the greatest movie franchises?
Oh, well, can you just like claim like the Marvel movie franchise as like?
No, it needs to be like a group. You know, like the Black Panthers, the Iron Man.
If I claim Rocky, do I get the Creed movies as well? Because they're the same universe.
Ooh.
And can I remove Rocky 5? So
I would say that the title indicates what franchise it is. So Creed is a separate franchise.
Yeah, but Sylvester Stallone is Rocky Balboa in Creed. Is there anyone in the chat still there? Can I get a ruling? But also Rocky 5 ruined the first 4 movies. So unless I can remove Rocky 5, then
I've never seen Rocky 5.
It's horrible. There's street fighting in it at one point. Like it's bad. I feel like you could make an argument for Top Gun with only 2 movies. Just saying.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna say you can include Creed.
Yeah, I'm still gonna go Fast and Furious. I just wanted to know if I could.
It's about family.
You know? I mean, it does blow my mind that Fast and Furious makes 87 movies and they still continue to put up numbers. There was some interview with Ludacris and they asked him, they're like, why do they keep making these movies? And he's like, are you serious? He's like, if you ask any CEO in the world if they want to make $300 million in profit, they're going to say, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, every single one of them just makes insane bank. So you're going to go with Creed, Rocky?
I don't know. I don't know if that, I mean, yes, I think that that's a fantastic series, again, with the disclaimer that the 5th Rocky movie really kind of ruins the other ones. That Mission Impossible probably makes an argument for itself. They're still making it. And James Bond, maybe I'd probably just say James Bond, but that's also like James Bond, you get like 40 movies. Like,
yeah, Bond's a lot.
What would, I mean, do you have a clear front runner, or is it like
movie series? I really don't. I mean, Bond would have been it, but that's even weird because like none of them are connected. It's not like a shared. Is it even a shared universe? Like they're all completely individual stories. I don't know.
Yeah, they really don't have much crossover from movie to movie, with the exception of like James Bond and Q and like the MI6 people. But like he's got like a different girl and a different. Although the new ones are kind of semi like no.
Greatest movie franchise. I think it has to be Bond.
Yeah.
Right? Every Bond movie is like an event. Like it's got to be like forever, for 100 years almost. Even though I don't even watch a lot of Bond movies, I don't really care about them, but it might be it. Right, Star Wars, there's 9 of them. That's pretty good, but a lot of them suck. Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, there's only 3 of them. I guess 6 of them, but The
Well,
Hobbit
and
isn't really like
yeah.
its thing. I feel like Bond is it.
I mean, yeah, Mission Impossible. I feel like you could make. I'm not. I know that the reviews are fantastic. I have not seen all of the Mission Impossible movies, but they also have made like 10 of those. I think. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen past the one that the guy gets eaten by the elevator. That fucked me up for life.
What is your favorite Greatest Showman song, and why?
That is.
You don't know what the Greatest Showman is?
Oh.
Oh my goodness, man. PT Barnum, the circus with Zac Efron and Zendaya and Hugh Jackman. He starts the circus with the bearded lady. Tom Keenan, to answer your point, since I'm talking with uncultured swine, I might say, I mean, This Is Me is going to be like the answer everyone's gonna give, but I'm gonna say the bar scene song where Zac Efron and Hugh Jackman are negotiating. I can't remember what that song's called. Zac Efron. The Other Side. There we go. I was going to say it was like The Off or something. The Other Side. Fantastic song. I love that. Or From Now On at the end with the choreography in the bar. It's a great song as well. Those would be my 2 probably.
A lot of stuff about the bar.
Yeah, I mean, it's that time period everyone's drinking. It's like I think that 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s. I can't remember if there's cars. I think it's early 1900s.
I can't remember if there's cars.
Well, they're just at the circus, man. I know there's a train.
The set doesn't move a lot. Got it.
Yeah.
Do I have the worst team in all the league? I would say no. Andrew McMurray is worse than yours, and he's in my league. He's 1-7. Actually, so is Benda. So you're 2-6. You're fine. Actually, you're not even mathematically out of it. Keep fighting.
Yeah, I don't think at this point, anyone, at least I was looking at the Fantasy Pros analysis for presidents, and I'm assuming since no one is undefeated in any league, then that this is true for all leagues. And I don't think anyone is defeated, right?
Right. I don't think anyone's mathematically eliminated.
So then no one is mathematically eliminated or guaranteed a playoff spot yet. I think 8 games guarantees you, if I'm guessing. So, because Knust, according to Fantasy Pros, is at 99% fantasy playoff odds, but not 100%. So he could just tank. Everyone on his team could tear their ACLs, and he doesn't make it.
You have if you're 1-7, then
I don't have. Yeah,
you could be one more loss and you're out 100%. But you win next week, don't give up. You're still in it. What lies do you tell yourself to make living bearable?
The Vikings are going to win a Super Bowl eventually.
I say that my existence pisses Will off, and that gives me enough to keep going.
This podcast maybe could get big enough that Jameson and Austin get to quit their jobs and become podcasters.
We have enough sponsors. I get enough Christmas lights to sell them in a black market. Mitch, how early is too lazy listening to Christmas music? Maybe a day before Christmas.
Oh, really? You're one of the, like, you can't listen to Christmas music prior to Christmas?
Well, I think it stems from I would have to listen to what is her fucking name? My mom
Mariah Carey.
No, my mom always had a Christmas album way to listen to, like the entire week leading up to Christmas was we like put up the tree and lights and all that stuff, but I can't remember her name. And I'd rather just listen to it the day of and call it good.
I would say, Mitch, the answer is November 1st. You cannot listen to Christmas music prior to November.
You're just going over another holiday. Get through the first holiday, and then you can listen to it.
Yeah.
Post Thanksgiving is fine.
I would say post Thanksgiving is more acceptable. I'm just saying definitely not before November 1st.
Okay.
You can't go through 2 holidays with Christmas music. You know, although Hallmark Christmas movies are already on TV and they were like in the middle of October. So
they've been on for a while.
Yeah.
Sully, you come across a genie. He offers you the chance to guarantee you'll live until age 79, but die that year. No chance of living longer, but no risk of dying early. If you accept the offer, you go through life without any knowledge of the arrangement. Do you take the offer? So I'm guaranteed to live till 79 without knowing that I am guaranteed to live till 79.
Yeah, I was gonna. So I guess my first question would be, does this mean you're like invulnerable? Like if I jump in front of a train at 30, like I'm just not gonna die? I know that I wouldn't know, but like
if it were to happen,
I tried to commit suicide and suddenly I just don't die. You know, I might start to figure out.
I think I would not do it.
Yeah.
I think I would just roll the dice and see how long we go.
I think I'd take my chances as well. It's now, if the answer was 89, I might consider it. I feel like 89 would be a better.
89 is the new 79.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Right. We got a whole lot of life to live at 79. There's a lot of people that want to make it faster, which is nice. What is the best brand of ice cream and flavor? My personal favorite at the moment is Tillamook cookie dough. It's fucking phenomenal.
Ooh.
Don't know, but that's the only thing I've been buying for the last year.
My favorite of all time, and something that no longer exists, and I blame Anthony Shimmick's dad. Is Anthony Shimmick in the league? I don't know if he is or not.
Actually, he might be. I don't know.
He's either in the league or he's on a wait list. Yeah, I can't remember. But he was my roommate several times in college, and his dad works for Blue Bunny as a R&D flavor designer, researcher. I don't even know what to call his position, but he was responsible for making a flavor of ice cream that was white chocolate macadamia nut cookie dough ice cream. And I had it once, and apparently it was only a temporary run and they've never made it again, but it was, and I'm sure at this point I'm building it up to be something that it's most definitely not, but it was the greatest ice cream of all time.
I used to work at Wells Blue Bunny factory.
Oh, really?
I was a wee lad between freshman and sophomore year of college. I was on the popsicle line, the 18 wide, meaning that 18 popsicles at once could be made. They would freeze the popsicles, move them in this big circle, drop them on the paper, and there's 3 stations. So you'd have to watch to make sure the popsicles fell into the paper correctly. Because if they didn't, the whole thing would get jammed up. They get wrapped up automatically and glued. And then there was 2 stations where you grabbed popsicles by the fucking handful and you put them into the boxes. And the boxes has 16, I think. So just by feel, you could tell that you had 16 popsicles or not. After a while, you just kind of figured it out.
You're like, oh, this is.
And then the last line was the boxes. So all the popsicles go into a box, and then the box machine glues them together. And the last thing was the box didn't get glued correctly, or there was too many popsicles in it. We got to correct that. You got to throw them up the line. Yeah, and I did that for 12 hours a night, 6 nights a week for 3 months between my freshman and sophomore year of college. Sucked ass.
That is a lot. Yeah.
So you're fucking your big buddy there designing flavors, probably in his second house, thinking like, oh, maybe this macadamia, whatever, sounds so good. People like me down in the trenches taking grenades for this guy.
But I always used to think, and I never really like asked him, like, what's a day look like for a guy that's coming up with flavors? Like, are you going into a room and they just put 8 little Dixie cups in front of you and you're like, oh, pistachio cookie, delicious. Oh, white chocolate, vanilla ice cream. Oh yeah. Like, what do you do all day? Like, do you just taste ice cream? And then you sit there with a notepad and you're like, what if we did red velvet cake batter ice cream? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
write that
good.
down. Write that down. Yeah.
I've been here for 15 minutes. I got to go home. I'm on break. All right. Well, I don't have much else. We've talked about Woes Blue Bunny, which is what I wanted to cover. We've talked about trades. We've talked about the history. Covered your name and likeness. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. We didn't do a good job of keeping to the 30 minutes that
No, I said an hour. Jameson put 30 minutes, and then the first time Jameson comes back in a month, the podcast goes 2 hours. So we have to adhere to that.
Yeah.
All right. Nope. Thank you to my guest, Justin Long. Appreciate you.
Make sure you guys write in so that I can come back again and continue to be the most common, most frequent guest on the pod. So
like and subscribe, smash the notification button and the bell and all the things, or else. All right. Bye.
Bye.